Signature is here again. Awesome topic. Makes me feel great in my spirit. Excited. Today we are going to be looking at that signature is something that both God and man identify with. God cannot establish destiny on earth outside signature. The signature of every man is the distinct value that cannot actually increase in size. The royalty of God on earth is with Judah. That is his signature. That is the capital value of Judah that cannot be changed, that cannot be altered. Is the royalty, royal destiny of God on earth. So every royal destiny that God will accomplish on earth, he will have to go to Judah. If after several years, Judah processed into producing Jesus the Lamb, and after thousands of years, God still went back to Judah to make demand on that value. Signature is something that we can't play with. Regardless of who you are, regardless of whatever you believe or wish, if that thing is not obtainable in your signature, it will never come by. Why we have so much frustrations is because we wish so many things that are not obtainable in our signature. What do we call this signature? We say that signature is an emblem that is imputed on every child before the child is born. Who imputes this on the child? The spirit of origins. And I said that Abraham is the dot takeoff of every Jewish man. The dot concept is the real essence of existence. There is no God outside it. There was one Abraham that was taken from the Ur of the Chaldeans, and this one Abraham met God and built an altar of relationship between him and his God. And this one Abraham gave birth to one Isaac, and one Isaac gave birth to Esau and Jacob. And then Esau continued his route, and Jacob gave birth to 12 sons. And then the nation of Israel that we see today came to be. And I said that every child born a Jew, every Jewish child has the signature of that dot concept, has the look of Abraham, has the tongue of Abraham, because Abraham will stay as the signature in the foundation to control the birth. Abraham must influence the birth of Jewish children, so he will make sure that there's a way they must not appear. That is why it is not difficult for you to differentiate between a Jew, between a Chinese, and an African, because signature will never lie. You can't deny signature. We all came from it. I came the way I came. I do not have long hair because it is not obtainable in my signature. It is not obtainable in my signature, and I am proud of my signature. If it is not obtainable in my signature, then there is something my signature has that this other signature does not have. Your signature is in your tongue. You came with a particular accent that you can't do away with. No matter how we speak phonetics, our accent cannot be denied. Our tongue is wired in certain manner. The dot takeoff, the dot concept of every origin influences the children, puts the tongue in the children, control the accent, control what they like, control their meal. I said that in the Jewish land, because the Bible says in the book of Mark that Jesus came to that particular tree and expected a fruit, and he didn't see, and he cursed the tree even though it wasn't the time of fig. And I said that because fig is a signature tree that grows in the land of the Jews, if God sends a Jesus to my land, that Jesus will not see fig, because the signature of my land is palm tree. I came from a land that grows palm tree. So if Jesus comes to my land, he will not eat fig. He will learn how to take palm kernel. That is what signature is all about. There are meals that are accustomed to your tongue because a particular dot concept kept it in the foundation. In the place I came from, there are some meals that we don't take, and there are meals we take. And what happens to your system when you invite foreign meal is as good as what happens to your destiny when you take a meal that is not meant for that destiny. So signature is the essence of life. That is why the Jews are the way they are, because their father Abraham lived that way. The life they have is a life that was in Abraham. And up till today, Abraham is still controlling the signature of every Jewish man. That is why if you watch a Chinese, you discover that they have certain structure. You discover that they have a facial appearance. You discover that the appearance they have is a designated appearance because a certain takeoff provided it in their signature. It is there in their route. It is there in their root. It is there in their formation. So if a Chinese man marries a woman and then gives birth, from birth, the child will have that look. That is what we are talking about. So it is something that both God and man identifies with. If God goes to the Greeks, because the signature of the Greeks is to identify God with wisdom and intelligence, God will take the form of intelligence to relate with the Greeks because that is their signature. But if God must come to the Jewish dominion, because the Jews know him as Yahweh, the most powerful God, he will come as a miracle working God. He will come in his omniscience that will propel his omnipotent so that he can be omnipresent. But if he will identify with the Jews, he will go as omniscience because the Greeks will meet with him as an intelligent God. That is signature. So your signature cannot be denied. No matter how we try to do copy, no matter how we try to deny it, these things control life from the realm. And like I said, if God identifies with it, I don't think it is wise for us to do certain copy that we do. I said, if Jesus comes to my land, God will not manufacture fig miraculously. Jesus will have to learn how to take palm kernel because my land does not have the signature tree of the fig of the Jewish people. So signature is the only thing that can give God destiny on earth. Because if Judah has the signature of royalty, that is the only reason God went to him to produce Jesus the Lamb. And God, after thousands of years, couldn't get anybody to replace that value. So he went back to him to produce Jesus the Lion. So your signature is you. Something that when they mention it, they will know that it is pointing at you. Signature is in your hairdo. Signature is in your accent. Signature is in the way you look, your eyes, your physical look. Signature is in the tree that grow in your land. Your signature is your destiny, your connection to God, your connection to men, and your connection to destiny. Outside signature, every other thing is fake, and we can't afford to keep on being fake. I'll see you in the next episode.